How do you feel?
Fine.
Hey, Toby, you suck!
Hey, do you still work here?
I'd like to introduce you to my replacement.
Nah.
This is Toby Flenderson, the unluckiest, most quietly miserable character in the whole show. I'm actually going to break down his entire journey from a devastating divorce to a life spent invisible inside a miserable little annex. Toby's suffering literally began the moment he stepped into Dunder, Mifflin, broken, alone, and already losing a custody battle for his own daughter. So, to answer why Toby is so miserable, we firstly need to know a little bit more about him. In the earlier seasons of the show, we see Toby quietly occupy the corner of the office near the annex. He is soft-spoken and genuinely trying to do his job correctly. He is the HR guy, which means his entire role is to enforce rules that nobody wants to follow and deliver news that nobody wants to hear. It is even established early on that his boss, Michael Scott, despises him on a level that goes so far beyond professional frustration that it borders on the irrational.
But you are going to have a mutiny on your hands, and I just can't wait to see how you handle it.
So, what actually went wrong with Toby's life? The problem isn't that he's an unlikable character or that the audience has no sympathy for him or anything like that. The problem is that the show, and the universe it seems, decided that Toby would be the punching bag for everything. His misery is layered and it is earned, and it starts long before we ever meet him in the pilot episode. Oh, by the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, hit that subscribe button. Thanks. Anyways, we learn early on that Toby went through a divorce. His wife left him, and he is now a single father raising his daughter, Sasha, largely on his own. He trained to become a priest before ultimately leaving the seminary, which means at some point in his life, Toby genuinely considered devoting himself entirely to God and chose instead to end up working in paper sales administration in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Okay, this is, all right, this is silly. Nope.
Let that sink in for a second. He gave up on the priesthood and landed here. As the show continues, Toby develops a quiet but unmistakable crush on Pam Beasley, the receptionist. Now Pam is kind, warm, and talented.
Hey, and maybe just don't joke around about that stuff in front of her.
Great point.
Thank
In fact, basic rule of thumb, let's just act every day like Pam's mom's coming in.
She and Toby seem to share a genuine gentleness that sets them apart from the rest of the office. And for a moment, you almost think, maybe this could go somewhere. Maybe Toby catches one small break. He doesn't. Pam falls in love with Jim Halpert, and Toby has to sit directly across from their blossoming romance every single day and watch it unfold in real time. He never says much about it. He doesn't lash out. He just absorbs it, the way Toby absorbs everything, quietly and completely. And this is where the show starts piling on in a way that becomes almost impressive in its commitment. Toby, likely the viewer for that matter, just keeps hoping that something will shift. That one season, something good will happen to him. However, it is then revealed that the universe is not done with Toby Flenderson, not even close. The actual cruelty of his storyline isn't just that bad things happen to him. No, it's that good things start to happen, and then they fall apart in the most humiliating ways possible. In Season 5, Toby announces that he is leaving Dunder, Mifflin to go live in Costa Rica. And you know what? Good on you, Toby. The office throws him a going-away party, and for the first time in years, Toby seems genuinely happy. He is beaming. He is free. He paraglides in Costa Rica and immediately breaks both of his legs.
I went ziplining my third day in Costa Rica. I guess the harness wasn't strapped in exactly right. I broke my neck.
Yeah, he is back at his desk within weeks. Michael Scott's reaction when he returns is,
Why'd you come back? Why didn't you stay?
Well, it's actually kind of hard to meet people.
I bet. For you.
And,
Later, Toby serves on the jury for the Scranton Strangler case, a local murder trial that becomes one of the show's long-running background jokes.
I was actually selected to be a juror on a very high-profile case.
The case of the horrible red-headed
Toby votes to convict, but becomes so haunted by the possibility that they convicted an innocent man that he visits the real Scranton Strangler in prison to confront him. The Strangler chokes Toby during the visit, not because he was brave or heroic, just because that is the kind of thing that happens to Toby Flenderson. The writing around Toby is fascinating because the show wants to play his misery for laughs, and it often works. But there's a genuine sadness underneath it that the audience quietly absorbs. 99.9% of viewers would agree that Toby does not deserve what he gets on this show, yet the universe of Dunder Mifflin treats his suffering as background noise. Michael loudly announces at one point that he hates Toby, that he wishes Toby would get in a car accident, and that Toby is the worst human being he has ever met in his life.
We need an HR rep. You should just bring Toby.
Hey, I'd rather kill myself.
And Toby just sits there. He nods. He maybe shifts slightly in his chair. Later in the series, Toby joins the office's book club and attempts to have his novel reviewed by the group. He has been quietly working on a mystery novel for years, implying that somewhere underneath all the HR paperwork and loneliness, Toby has a creative soul trying to get out. The group barely engages with it. He mentions his book again in a later season, and it has still not been finished. Glad he at least has the manuscript. For now. Then there is the moment that perhaps best encapsulates his entire existence on this show. In the finale, after 9 seasons of quiet suffering, Toby is the last one cut from the documentary crew's final interviews. Everyone else gets a moment, everyone else gets a send-off. Toby gets a brief, slightly uncomfortable goodbye and disappears into New York City to, presumably, continue being Toby Flenderson somewhere off-screen. Here is where we reach what is really the grand statement of Toby's arc. This is not a character who is miserable because he is a bad person. He is just a man who keeps showing up, keeps trying in his small and quiet way, and keeps getting the rug pulled out from under him. His ex-wife moves on. Pam marries Jim. Costa Rica breaks his legs. The Strangler chokes him. His novel stays unfinished. Michael Scott screams his name like a curse word for 9 years. And yet, Toby keeps coming in every morning. He makes his coffee. He sits in the annex. He files his HR reports that nobody reads. There is something almost noble in that, and something almost unbearable in it at the same time. The show never fully commits to giving him a redemption arc the way it does for other characters. He does not get the big speech or the satisfying resolution. He just sort of fades out, still trying, still Toby. That is what makes him the most miserable character in The Office. Not because the show broke him, but because it never quite let him heal either. Alright, that's all for today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.